Welcome back to another edition of Ask Layden. I'm Layden Hale, Senior Counseling Advisor with Homeport. And as I look out my window with the sun shining, I can see that spring is on its way. And with the onset of spring brings longer days, beautiful flowers, and that dreaded tax season. The IRS filing deadline for the 2020 tax year has been extended from April 15th to May 17th, 2021. The tax returns, coupled with the new stimulus funds created by the American Rescue Plan, is bringing well-needed income to many households. So in this episode, we want to discuss a few tips on how to use these funds. To start this conversation, though, I want to say there is no one simple answer. How you use these funds should be based on your current financial situation, because everyone has not been affected the same way. If your family lost income during the coronavirus pandemic, your choices will be different than those that stayed employed. So joining us today, we have Homeport counselor Tanisha Drummond to discuss the advice she gives her clients on this matter. Welcome, Tanisha, to Ask Layden. So tell me, what types of tips are you giving your clients about how to use these funds?
Thank you very much, Layden. So like you said, I'll be focusing on two different target populations. So those who were adversely affected by COVID-19 as far as their employment or income sources are concerned, and those who may not have had any issues, still continue to work, but still need tips on how to further their tax returns or stimulus payments. So let's start with those individuals who were adversely affected. What we would like to do with those funds is try to figure out how we can maximize those to alleviate some of the burden on those month-to-month expenses. So let's look at the critical bills, the things that we need to have. So shelter, we need food, we need transportation, whether you have your own transportation or you're utilizing a public transportation system. So either way, still need those things. Everybody needs and wants are going to differ at some point in time, but those critical things like maintaining the bills in the household, we know that those are needs. So first and foremost, you need to know before I sit down with any of my clients or we spend a dime, I let them know we need to come up with a plan of action. We need to see how much money is coming into the household versus what's going out. So essentially a budget, right? Just to put that in layman terms. And then once we've identified that particular information, we can look at how we can further this stimulus money or tax return money to the benefit of the client. So for instance, every 6 months, we know that our car insurance policies typically renew. So with that, maybe you could take that stimulus money and pay that car insurance policy up for the next 6 months. That way, that's not an expenditure you have to worry about for the next 6 months. And maybe some of that money that you were spending towards that, you could inject that into paying a little bit extra on one of your credit cards. Or maybe say you don't have a car, you only have credit card debt. Pay off that credit card or maybe pay as much as you can and then take that minimum balance that you were paying on that particular card and put that on something else that you may possibly need to pay for. And then as you start knocking those debts out, seeing where you can alleviate some of your other resources to either A, start an emergency fund, or B, continue to pay down some more of your debt. If you completely pay it off, it is okay to take a moment and say, you know what, I'm going to treat myself. I'm excited. I've met these goals. Everything is great. I'm going to give myself a treat for being able to take care of some of these expenditures, right? So for those of us who had no loss of income, everything went pretty smoothly during COVID. You know, all the needs were met, wants were met, and have a little bit of wiggle room. One of the things you can consider is starting an emergency fund because we still don't know what's going to happen in the future with COVID-19 or any other types of pandemics, or just we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring, essentially. So Creating an emergency fund in case there is a loss of income or there's an unforeseen circumstance like the hot water tank in the house, decides to up and break. At least you'll know the money's there and it won't put any additional financial strain on your household. Also, start thinking about investing. If you have that extra money available, you can definitely sit down with a financial planner or a financial advisor and see where you could best maximize those funds to be a benefit to you, right? A return on your investment. It may help with you looking towards retirement. Maybe you only have an employer sponsored 401k. This way, you can look into some things maybe with your bank or with your insurance agent and start planning a little bit more aggressively for retirement, especially because we really don't know what's going to happen within this next year or two. All right. So let's say, okay, all that's covered, Tanisha. I have still money left from my tax return or my stimulus. What can I do with that? Well, if you feel like you've taken care of everything, there are so many nonprofit organizations and community partners out here that could probably use a nice donation or something that can help put money back into the community and help those that are less fortunate. So if that's something that you want to consider, or if there is an organization that's near and dear to your heart, consider making a monetary contribution to those particular places. But those are just a few ways that you can maximize those monies. If you guys have any questions, we have counselors that can help you in putting a plan in place to take care of putting that stimulus or that tax return to great use. So thank you, Layden, for having me. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Tanisha, for that valuable information, because as we have learned, there are several different options, and if we can use just one or two of them, it will help us to improve our financial situation and to reduce some of that stress. So if anyone out there needs help developing a plan to use your tax returns to attain your goal of home ownership, you can contact us at homeportlearning.org, homeportlearning.org, or you can call us at 614-545-4895 to sign up for one of our free classes. I hope to see you soon, and goodbye for now.